Is it done? Did I do it? Calm down, release me? What? Bro, that wasn't as bad, I'm not gonna lie. Compared to all the other bosses, I don't know, maybe it's because I haven't died since Biome 5, so maybe that's why. Holy sh... Finally, we're gonna see the ending. I didn't expect to beat it in this run, unless they're debating me and there's another boss. If there's another boss, I'm just done with this game, bro. Is that a car? Or there's light?
I remember everything now.
Fatal crash, yeah.
Why I deserve to be here. The crash. That's why I belong. It's always the crash I return to.
What do you mean? It's the... This is some Silent Hill shit. Okay, it says I have to release me. The car is here. Because, yeah, I remember the car fell down the bridge into, like, a river or something. So was she the driver, or... Oh, it's back to that big old alien ball. Alright, what is it? Don't tell me another boss fight. No! Wait!
Are you the one who brought me here?
Is this the final boss?
You wanted me to see?
Oh, wait, more lore. Lore time. Oh, it's not like an actual flashback. We're actually seeing a whole cutscene of this. Saw this multiple times in our dreams. So that's her daughter? Or is that her? So we're getting haunted by a daughter in this planet? See, I called it earlier when we were playing. Or, I mean, a few streams or a few nights ago, dude. I called it. Bruh. So Thea's the little girl, I guess, from the... Why was there a random-ass astronaut in the middle of the fucking bridge? Or was she just seeing shit again? Like, yeah, I think she had to be seeing shit. I'm not gonna lie, I know this is a very sad scene, and I don't know why I'm mentioning it now, but these cutscenes are really, really good. They look so good. So her daughter... See, I kind of... Okay, that's expected. I mean, they already said it, like, throughout the playthrough in the house. Because I said her daughter is the one who's haunting her in this planet. Unless this whole planet is just based off guilt of her own... Wait, what? That's it?
Do you see the white shadow?
Wait, don't end it here. Wait, no, wait, you're just gonna show that ending what you just explained in the other time? No, you can't end like this. Oh, how smart. What are you doing? I was actually sort of into it. Like, I wanted to know the reasoning of all this sort of lore for you to end it like... Bruh, what? Are you kidding? I was so into it. Like, let me turn on my... I was sort of expecting a big lore drop in the end. After the journey we went through? Really? I mean, I probably need to do a little bit more research. More lore dropping. Gotta look on YouTube stuff and explanations, everything. That's it? And we're back to the gameplay?
I birthed destruction. I am destruction.
Last drive.
Cycle to end. I must not just remember.
Returnal has more secrets to be found if you dig deeper. Use a device cargo bay to find... Okay. Okay, maybe... Really? We died 68 times. So close to 69. This is also total suit usage, 1 day. So basically 26 hours. 26 hours is the total playtime for me. What the hell? So that's just... That's it? Yeah, that's it. The gameplay ends here. So I did see there was a secret ending to this, so we're just gonna go to that and check it out. At least the final boss wasn't super tedious, and I didn't have to do a whole rerun. The biomes were like the biggest part. All right, let's go search up the secret ending. The White Shadow Boy.
Did you leave
Again, I don't get the astronaut. Is that supposed to be some sort of symbolism of her worst enemy or some shit?
Where did you go?
Okay, here's another flash. Okay, this is the one we didn't see.
I'm all alone now.
Scene of a daughter. Oh, look at that PS5 just on the floor. Bro, this whole game is creepy as hell. Oh, man.
Octo, don't disappear again.
Bro, what the heck? And yeah, her knuckles are like messed up. I remember when we were playing as her the first time, her knuckles were like messed up as well.
Octo! Octo!
The Ash. I swear, this astronaut's like. It's a friend or foe. We would never know. Well, that's a first. It's when Helios crashed, right? But what for? What reason? What is the reasoning?
This will be the last time I return.
Alright, the last house scene. You know, we died so many times. I don't understand.
What happened?
I don't understand why
You
we.
deserved it.
I don't care what happened, but you deserved it. What? What? Deserved what?
Forget.
Cryptic. I'm trying to crack it down, but I literally have no clue still.
So much less.
What I was about to say, how come we couldn't.
We're both broken.
Let me pause it. I was about to say, how come we couldn't literally see all the house segments when we died so many times? They could have just literally put it in here. Because regardless, the player will have no context. Like, the way they're talking is just so symbolic as hell. Where are we at now? Still biome 1. So I guess this is gonna happen throughout the second playthrough or something. The house changed? Oh, it's rocks. Alright, this is the final boss. I think, okay, ending time. Did you guys see something different towards this boss?
I crossed light years of anguish. My answer is beneath you. Give it to me.
Oh, she does say something different. She doesn't say the same thing. Really, bro? They want me to play this game all over again? I don't know if I have it in me to play it for another playthrough. Oh, the card triggers something. Yeah, so this is the last ending. It's like a 3-minute ending. Oh, what the hell? On the wheelchair? Who would that be? Would that be her? Oh, this one looks pregnant. I think the audio's a little... No, never mind. It's not desync. Oh my god. How dare you do that to an old lady, Celine? Or pregnant woman. Oh, it's Thea? Oh, that's Thea. Thea's the mom, not the daughter. I'm just so confused. Wait, what? It's the astronaut? Astronaut gotta come in and be like, I'm your father? No, she's the astronaut. She's her own enemy. So she caused her own accident? Wait, Because she's like from another timeline or something. That's what I'm like. She just ended up in another whole timeline somehow, some way, and she ended up killing herself along with her daughter. But what about Thea? Thea's the mom, or I don't even. How the what is happening? Is that it, bro? Still more fucking. There's just still more questions to this. What the fuck? All right, I'm gonna end the stream here. Thank you all for coming through. We finally beat Returnal though. I ain't gonna play a whole nother playthrough just to do a secret ending because honestly, I just can't, man. I just can't with this game. I'm sorry, I just can't. But gameplay's good, but I'm super mixed with how they designed the game though. So, all right, peace. Okay, wow. So, how should I start this commentary? I guess I'm just gonna start off by simply just saying I got the PS5 last week. I was very fortunate to get it. I was just very, very lucky. And it was this PS5 bundle from GameStop, and it came with Returnal. And I had no high expectations of the game. Neither was I interested because I definitely did see some little bit of footage and marketing from Housemarque and PlayStation themselves. And the only impressions I had with the game is like, oh, the gameplay actually looks smooth, and it doesn't look like the typical AAA title, you could say. And I'll get into that of what I mean when it comes to the typical AAA title in modern video games. Again, so I didn't have any sort of high expectations when it came to Returnal because, first of all, again, I wasn't interested, and it's a shooter. I'm not into shooters nowadays. They sort of died down for me. I mean, I will play them time to time, but again, it was a shooter, and I was like, I don't know, but we'll see. I wanted to see how these PS5 exclusives were like, and it was something I wanted to just simply try out. I definitely did hear from some reviews and some people, content creators that I follow, that they were really impressed with this game due to not just how the gameplay is, but it's also how they really utilize the PS5's features and hardware. So I wanted to just check it out for myself, especially as someone who just got the PS5. I'm very eager to try out something that really uses the PS5 to its full potential. And honestly, holy crap, I'm honestly just surprised that this game runs so well on the PS5. I want to let you know that in terms of its graphics, ray tracing is on all the time. It is on literally all the time. There's no way to turn it off or anything. And maybe that's an issue, right? Because maybe sometimes you want a stable 60 frames. But for the most part, I mean, the game does run decently on 60 frames. I mean, there's times when it gets very, very chaotic. That's when frames start to drop. But it's still manageable. It was manageable to the point where I was like, this isn't really ruining the game for me. I'm still able to go through it. And for the most part, like I said, the 60 frames is still there. And I'm just really impressed that there's just so many effects happening on screen. Because for those who have played Returnal, you know what I'm talking about. Because there's just so many. There's a lot of fights, you could say, where just so much things happening all at once. And it may hurt your eyes potentially. Like if your eyes are actually very sensitive to light and all these bright colors on screen and that are flashing as well, this game may be not for you. And there's no really any way to turn it off. I did check the settings, and yeah, I don't think there's really a efficient way to turn off, which is unfortunate. I feel like when it comes to these sort of games, there should be accessibility options. I think that's the most important thing when it comes to modern AAA titles, is that you should be able to have all these sort of options that you could do with your game. Because especially everyone's different. Everyone's built different. Hey, and I'm not trying to meme. Literally, people are built different. So we are not able to necessarily handle everyone deals with some sort of like problem when it comes to gaming, and I feel like with a game like this that really involves a lot of lighting effects, this may be harmful to some. I was able to handle it. It was just annoying to me because it was actually holding back of how I was playing, because it's just honestly very distracting. Again, this game didn't really give me like a headache or anything. It may give it to you, though. And the thing what was just annoying about this game was just how overkill the effects are. And another thing is, that's also another problem with the design of these enemies when you're fighting, is that they're definitely very overkill when it comes to projectiles and stuff you would have to actually maintain throughout the game, because sometimes you're just doing the impossible when trying to avoid all these sort of projectiles on you. Again, that's honestly a fault on its gameplay in terms of its level design. I'm sorry, because there's just times where it's just sometimes you have to take the damage. You can't literally avoid everything. It's just literally so hard to no damage in this game. Anyway, so a lot of you guys are saying, so why isn't this the typical AAA title? And I bring that up a lot because in modern AAA titles, a lot of AAA titles, especially when it comes to PlayStation, they're simply like movies. You know, you're literally sitting down there with your controller and you're just watching the story. And honestly, that is sort of a big problem to me, because personally, I'm all in for gameplay all the time. I could care less about the story. Story is just a cherry on top. Maybe that's just me nowadays, because maybe some people do actually enjoy these story-driven games, and they prefer just having, I guess, best of both worlds of having that little bit of gameplay and then seeing a lot of its story. To me, I really just prefer gameplay-driven games, because the story is just filler to my gaming experience, and it's also been a big concern to me in modern gaming, because again, from what I've said, it's just many games tend to focus on free roaming. You must have a story-driven game, a meaningful game. There's a certain level design to it. But when coming into Returnal, this is not the typical AAA title that you would honestly see. Because, first of all, this isn't a free roaming game. This game is actually pretty linear as hell. But the gameplay is very story-driven. Not story-driven. It's very gameplay-driven. Literally, when you boot up this game, they literally just make you drop into the map and bam, you're playing. And yeah, they only show a few cutscenes in the beginning of the game. Very short cutscenes. And then bam, you're already playing. You're getting into the action already. And man, it's not afraid. It's literally not afraid to ease in, because yeah, you're just literally hopping into everything all at once. And I actually do like that, because maybe I'm just a little bit old school when it comes to gaming, but back then, a lot of games tend to do that. They just make you drop in and you just learn on the go, learn naturally. Other than, when it comes to modern games nowadays, you kind of just ease in slowly into the game. And maybe that's why sometimes I think that's what modern games fail to do, is that it's just fail to get people's attention nowadays, because they ease in very slowly than actually letting the person learn on their own. And I think that's the beauty as well of how games were back then, because it's like all you gotta do is just hop in and learn the game, So that's why I actually did somewhat enjoyed this game. Now let's actually. Oh yeah, before I actually hop into the cons or I guess you could say the flaws I had with this game, let's actually talk about why I think this game is underrated despite the feelings I had for this game. And that's just simply, again, uh, this isn't a traditional AAA title, and it's very surprising from a company like Sony uh, pushing this sort of game, because you don't normally see AAA titles like this. And I do hope in the future, because I do actually hope that this game actually is successful in a way, because it will tell these upper companies like, hey, these gameplay driven games are definitely still the thing on the market, rather than these heavy story driven big old narrative games that people play nowadays, you know. So, and I really do hope that, and I do think this is one of the most underrated AAA titles out there, and I do hope PlayStation continues to provide this sort of genre to us. Not just genre, but again, just I want to see these AAA developers make these great gameplay driven games, because I believe they can. There's definitely a lot of modern games out there that I do like when it comes to AAA titles. There's definitely a lot of games out there, but the problem I have with AAA titles is that it's just so hard to get back into. It's hard to replay games, and I love to replay games. There's so many games I would want to replay, but the thing is, it's the story. The story simply just holds back the experience for me, because there's just so much stuff just to go through with its story. Like, you're skipping so much dialogue, you're skipping so much cutscenes. There's just so much stuff. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of the story filler in there to skip out, and then then at the same time, although the gameplay could be so good, it doesn't last very long either. So that's the problem, of what I've been having, and it's been a big concern I've been having with PlayStation, because I was like, oh man, this just doesn't look so bright on them, especially with the news we've been hearing from them throughout these past few months. Things just ain't looking so hot. I've been honestly disappointed with how PlayStation is handling these companies, these developers, along with their games. You know, it's just been, and I know we're just going through COVID and all that, but in terms of like the business side of things and just hearing the news, man, it's just disappointing to hear about. But I'm glad that they considered on releasing a game like this, and I hope PlayStation does consider, like, hey, you know, we could still push out these sort of games out there, because like I truly believe this is an underrated game, and I do hope people do actually enjoy it. And I know I'm about to say like the faults it does have, and I think this has to be addressed, because I believe as well that the genre, so this is like a roguelike genre. This is my second roguelike game. I don't really play many roguelike games, when it comes to this, because like Hades was like my first roguelike game, and I really do mess with Hades. I really do like it a lot. Because there's not just that the gameplay is great, but there's a lot of things outside the gameplay. I guess you could say maybe the story and adventure aspect of Hades, what makes the game really great as well, and also the progression you could do in this game. What Returnal sort of fails to hit me with when it comes to this is its progression and how they reward you, and also along with I feel like the balancing of this game feels a bit off, or if anything, really off. And I guess we could talk about the balancing of the game. There are 6 biomes in this game. All of them are honestly very detailed. They're quite nice. One of them you're seeing right now is the glacier or snow biome, which is the 5th biome in the game. And this is where I had a tough time at. But in the gameplay here, this is where the game like really clicked for me within this biome. But let's talk about the biomes that I really struggled with. The biomes that I struggled with was 3 and 5, which is the biome you're seeing right now. Biome 5 is the snow biome, and biome 3 is the, I guess you could say it's like this temple, ancient area full of robots and stuff. Biome 3 was definitely one of the most difficult, unnecessarily hard biomes that you would have to go through. The enemies that they made in this game, they just pack so much damage on you for no reason. Now let's talk about how the damage scaling is, along with how the options that they give you in this game, because this is a game, right, to where they give you so many options, right? Or that's what they want you to believe, because they give you so many options to approach your build when you're one-upping yourself, right? And in the beginning of the game, when I first played this, I was like, okay, it's nice that I have options, and it's nice that we have all these sort of upgrades throughout the game. But the thing about this game, the thing about the game is that it's so randomized to where you could spend an hour or so grinding, finding all the material and artifacts you need and for your build in order to succeed on the destination you need to be at. But as you're traveling towards your destination, random tough enemies will just spawn and just murder you. Literally hit you in one shot, bam, half your health gone, and then in another shot, bam, you just get two-shotted. It is just the most unluckiest or the most BS thing you could go through in this game. And it could happen to you multiple times. And I think that's what really turned me off with the game, is because as much as I know and I'm aware of that in roguelikes, you're just supposed to you basically die and progress. You die and progress, and that's how it is. You live and learn. That's how these sort of genres are, and I get that. But at the same time, when literally the odds are constantly literally on you 24/7, the game starts to be draining. And as much as I would want to platinum this game, because honestly I'm sort of near a platinum. This game only has like 31 trophies, and I'm like on my 20th something trophy. Like we need like 10 more trophies or so, or a few more trophies or so, man. Like this game is just so draining when fighting these enemies. And not only that, the mob fights in this game, they're just, sometimes they just throw so much at you. Along with these maps, they purposely make you fall, because there's like platforming in this game, and sometimes you could be out of bounds and fall to your death. And when there's so many projectiles and so many things you gotta be platforming all at once, the game just gets too overwhelming, where it's like you just don't want to deal with this BS anymore. It just starts to be a chore. It just starts to really just drain out the fun. And I feel like this game, they didn't really necessarily have to do this sort of genre in order to make this game fun. And I get it. It does fit in the theme with this game, where you die and repeat, like it's Edge of Tomorrow or like Groundhog's Day or something. And I do like the concepts of this story, but like, they could have honestly just made it a very linear game and explain its story, and they could just done the gameplay differently. They could have done a gameplay similar to how like Dead Space did it or something, just something like that. Maybe something like Mass Effect, like a typical sci-fi shooter, but they could amp up the whole gameplay, but they chose this. And again, as much as I do respect Housemarque and how they handle this game. There's definitely times, man. The reason why I generally feel like this is just maybe I just had bad luck throughout my first playthrough. Maybe I just went through the most hard shit. Maybe it was just the most. They were just giving me the most difficult scenarios ever. Because the thing is with this game, you don't know what you're necessarily doing wrong. Because, for example, of what I mentioned of how you would be farming for so many hours, or not so many hours, but for an hour or so, just to die. There were times too where it's like, okay, so if maybe I'm just wasting time farming for abilities, maybe I should just go straight towards the final destination. And when I do that, bam, obviously not worth, because I'm like, wait, I don't have the abilities or I don't have anything that would support me well. So what do I gotta do? I gotta farm. And it's just like literally like this game, an endless cycle of knowing like what am I doing wrong? What am I supposed to do? And this is where the decision making literally comes into play. Like, in what I mean in terms of decision making, and I actually do sort of like this. I do sort of like the decision making in the game because they make you think twice on what you need to do in here. Because it's like, okay, if I'm going to spend these sort of artifacts, or I mean, spend my money on a certain artifact, I have to make sure I have to stick with it. And if same goes for weapons. It's like, okay, if I'm going to pick up this weapon and I'm going to go with it, I have to make sure this is going to be good for me on the long run. I do like these decision making, but at the same time, it's like you could be doing the most smallest things in the game, and that would truly affect you. And again, I'm not sure how to feel about it. I'm super mixed with this game. I haven't been so conflicted with a game like this. I think this is like the first time actually I've been very conflicted with a game like this, and it just puts me in circles to where it's like yeah, there's a lot of aspects in the game I like, but at the same time I'm not a big fan of RNG. I'm not a fan of randomized stuff. You know, I can't like my style is more so, you know, like, oh, you have to learn. You need to know what to do. Here, it's sort of a survival experience at the same time. Literally every odds is just against you. Play with your heart out every single time you play. And again, it gets very tiring. I actually, there were days where I was like, yeah, I just don't have the energy to play this game. I just have to drop it like after 2 hours, because the first few days I have played on my on the first playthrough, I was like, I was playing for like 5+ hours on each day, but there's definitely days where I was like, I just have to stop playing. I was like, this just isn't good for my mental health, my sanity. Again, I want people to know I don't dislike the game, because I really don't. Because if I disliked the game, I wouldn't even be bothering to finish it, or even put in so many hours into the game. It's just, the thing is, there's a lot of questionable stuff, you do in this game, because mainly due to how the gameplay design is, or the level design is. Like, they want you to have, like, when you're facing these tough enemies, they want you to have the best artifacts. They want you to have these best upgrades. But the thing is, literally, like, it just doesn't seem worth it, because you could lose it within seconds if you face off the wrong enemy. And I guess it's their way of saying, hey, choose your battles, right? You could run away from fights. There's ways. There's sometimes there's like ways you could avoid battles. You could just simply run away instead of fighting, because you don't truly have to fight every single enemy in one biome. You could always run away. But at the same time, You sort of need to if you want to collect money. This game, you cannot even collect as much money in this game, and that's another problem because again, they want you to buy as much artifacts or they want you to buy as much consumables, whatever items you need in the game in order to succeed. But the thing is, they don't provide enough. Even if you have the money upgrades to where it's like, oh, you're able to collect more money as usual or whatever sort of abilities you have for the money, they're honestly not worth to get or even buy because simply you just don't earn enough in this game, and I don't know why it's like that. So it's one of the most useless abilities ever in the game. Like if I was you, if you were going for another second playthrough, never even try to go for a second don't even go for like the money ability. It's just literally a whole complete waste of time. And if you ever even try to decide on trying to buy a money upgrade ability or whatever, that is literally a whole complete waste of a trade-off because, again, not worth the time because you're not going to have it. And I hate how this game secretly tells you on, like, hey, maybe you should do this or maybe you should do that with its gameplay. Because it's honestly very irritating. And this is what I mean where it gets very confusing on the direction of where you need to do, of what you need to do, where you need to go. Because it's again, the stuff is just so randomized. The balancing is just so weird. So I'm going to compare Hades, since it's the only roguelike I played. Why I really enjoyed Hades is because going through their biomes, they weren't as tough. I mean, yes, they did give you problems, right? The enemies give you problems, but not literally to where you're just stuck there and not knowing what to do. I was able to pick off quickly on what I needed to do. Because normally with Hades and the runs that I played, I was able to understand what they wanted me to do and focus when it came to going through biomes and bosses. Because typically the bosses were the hardest, levels to go through in that game. And normally when going through the biomes, you build up your set, your equipment, everything, as you go on forward towards that boss. You basically make a whole build for that upcoming boss. And I like that. That's the format I honestly just prefer. And I know maybe other roguelike games play differently. But the way with Hades, how it does it, it just makes sense in every way. They don't try to purposely waste your time, because if you lose, there's still some progress because you're making progress with the story. Also, there's some upgrades you could do before you head out on your run. And again, when you're doing your run, you're able to build up. You already know what to expect for this upcoming boss, because that's what you're literally doing for that certain incoming boss of what you're about to fight. Because in here, Biome 4, or not Biome 4, Biome 5 was tricky. The gameplay that you're seeing here right now is because, so for context, you're supposed to get 3 keys in this biome. And at the end, literally at the end, before you receive the key, you fight like a little mini boss. And streams before this, or the last stream before this gameplay you're seeing right now, I went through hell with the bosses I was going through, the rooms I was also going through. They were just giving me simply a hard time. And the way the final waves or bosses that they gave me, they played way differently compared to others. They gave me like undodgeable lasers, Like, you literally, the only way to dodge them is jumping over them, but at the same time, you can't jump over them because Celine doesn't jump high. So in order to jump over them, you got to go over these ledges. You got to go quickly on the ledges. You got to just be super quick. Again, the scenario I'm describing is just impossible to do within seconds, especially when you're fighting a boss that teleports behind you at the same time. There's just so many stuff that's happening with the bosses that I was going through. And when I looked at other people's playthroughs, because I felt like maybe I was just playing the game wrong. I wasn't even playing the game wrong at all. It was simply, I was unlucky. It was just bad randomization I was going through. And why they did that to me, I have no clue why. But hey, at least it's over with and I'm done. I'm done with the game because of how honestly tired I am. Again, I don't think there's nothing wrong with its gameplay in terms of like movement, the shooting. The shooting feels well, the moving, the dodging feel very smooth, right? This is a AAA title where animations are like super smooth, like as if they played from the 2000s. And what I love from the 2000s when it came to video games is how smooth animations were and such, because a lot of modern AAA titles as well, their animations could be jank because of how too realistic they are. And I guess I should just end the video off here. I think I said enough or explained enough with this. I kind of want this video a bit lengthy since I don't think I'm going to be covering a lot of Returnal. Neither will I ever be talking about it again on this channel. And I'm sorry if I kind of gave a bad attitude about this game. Again, I was praising it, and I still am praising it. I think it's a very impressive game. But at the same time, a lot of the balancing and the way they approach stuff in this game is just questionable to me. Because, again, I still prefer Hades over this game in terms of how they format it. Because this game just likes to waste your time. This game would literally it'll have the guts, it'll have the energy just to ruin your life. Now, some of you may like that. Some of you may like the challenge, the constant challenge every time you boot up this game. But with me, as someone who actually do like challenging games and isn't like who is actually down for the challenge, I was honestly, there were times where I just wanted to quit because of how the gameplay loop was just not really fun for me, because of how very draining it could be. And I do hope in the future, if there's like a Returnal 2 or if Housemarque decides to make another AAA title that's exclusive for PlayStation or something, whatever the plan is, I do hope the balancing of this game becomes more reasonable than very because this game is pretty much they want you to work hard constantly than really be how can I say it, knowledgeable. But then again, decision making is also very important. But I think what's really important is how hard you work in here. And again, it's just such a confusing thing because yeah, you would work hard in the game, and yet the artifacts that you grind for like hours, or sorry, not hours, you probably wouldn't grind for hours because you probably would have been already dead, but like the hour or so time, literally they would punish you hardly for it. See here in this room, I don't know if you guys are seeing it right now. Oh, there, I just teleported actually. They spawned me in a room that I never expected because I never actually seen it. That was the first encounter I had with those enemies within this biome. I did not expect to see those tough 2 little mini bosses or elite enemies in the game that were here. Luckily, I was able to kind of shred them with this weapon I have. Again, the balancing of this game, right? I feel like in order to succeed in this game, you have to prioritize DPS, and it's hard to get upgrades for your damage. It really is, because this game lacks money, and also you have to be spending your money on other stuff. They force you to do that sometimes. It's quite unfortunate of how things are laid out for this game. And I feel like the super like sci-fi weapons in this game are really good. If you use like the normal weapons like the carbine, the shotgun, and the pistol, they're not gonna help you on the long run. They will not help you. Take my advice when when it comes to that. And it sucks that you literally, and maybe that's why I was able to get through half of the game, halfway into the game, sort of easily, and was able to one try like these bosses, the last two bosses, is simply because of the super sci-fi weapons I had. Because the weapons, the typical normal weapons I've tried to use, their damage isn't the greatest, and maybe they should change that. Maybe they shouldn't. I don't know. Anyway, I want to hear your guys' comments down below and how you generally feel about this game. Again, I still think, despite the way I feel about this game, I want everyone to understand that I still think this game is a very underrated game. I think it's a very impressive game. Just because I don't necessarily like it, you may actually like it. You know, everyone's different because it's just the way how I feel when it comes to level design. Is that, hey, I want to feel rewarded. I want to feel that my progress, regardless of how many hours I put in, I want to see and feel that accomplishment. You know, because this game, as what many say, and they weren't kidding. They weren't kidding when they said this, because I didn't take it. I didn't take this whole phrase seriously when people said it to me. Is that this game is very, very unforgiving. So again, if you're into challenges, if you're into difficult games, because this is the most toughest game I've ever went through. I was in pain going through this game. Oh man, but yeah, like halfway through the game, things started to somewhat click. And especially at the end, I was starting to like get it. And maybe again, I might go for another run just to see how it is. And anyway, I'm just gonna end it here. I keep talking too much. Comment down below what you guys think. Remember to drop a like, and subscribe if you want to see more of the PlayStation content. That'll be up on my channel very soon. And I do hope you guys actually enjoyed this little commentary or big commentary video about Returnal. I want this video pretty big, as since I won't really be talking as much when it comes to Returnal. So I hope you enjoy for what it is. I'm sorry again if I seemingly gave a bad attitude, but trust me, I still think the game is underrated as hell. And I thought it was a very impressive game, and I'm happy I was able to experience this sort of game, because I think it is a very impressive game. It is the most challenging games I have ever played. And I'm glad I've beaten it. So, anyway, I'm out. Comment down below what's like the appeal of this game. I really do want to hear your guys' opinions about it. I really do. It would be nice to hear, and have some insight of why everyone thinks this game is very appealing, or like it's the perfect game to you guys, or maybe you do have some problems. I want to hear that too. Just comment below what you guys think, and I'm out. Hope you enjoyed the video. Peace off.